Thank you all so much for attending. This is exciting to see everybody here. I have a PowerPoint presentation that I'm going to go to, but if you have comments or questions or additions, please feel free to add to the conversation as we go along. Let's see. Here we are. And I'm on the wrong slide. There we go. Okay, so I call this presentation, Where Did You Get That Song? Resources for Congregational Song. And I don't know about you, but this is not showing up entirely on my screen.
I'm looking at it just fine.
Okay, mine is, the pictures are cutting off the right edge. So are you looking for hymns on a specific topic? You're thinking of going beyond the hymnal, but don't know where to start? This is the place for you to be. There's a wide world of resources available online, so let's take a look. So starting out with resources from organizations. These are the organizations that I'm going to discuss. And we will go to the Hymn Society. So if you're not familiar with the Hymn Society, it's a large international organization. This is the Hymn Society of the United States and Canada. There are sister hymn societies in Europe as well. And if you look at the bottom of my slide here, that's the website, thehymnsociety.org/publications. And we will have all these links for you later. So they have 4 collections of hymns that they've put together over the years that you can download, and they're very extensive, and I highly recommend them. Hymns in Time of Crisis might be a good one for right now. Singing Welcome might also be a good one for right now. Actually, all of these could be great for right now. Resounding Voices was new to me. I believe that's an older resource. But the other ones I think are within the last 10 years. Anybody have any experience with those collections? Amanda, I know you're in one of them.
Yeah, I have a couple of pieces and songs for the Holy Other. It is, I think it's a pretty good collection. It just covers a range of issues and perspectives related to this pretty broad community. So I recommend it.
So these are downloadable, and they're just sheet music. That's what they are.
We've used the songs for the Holy Other.
Mm-hmm.
I found that one, so it's great.
Okay. Next, we have hymnary.org, which is a very, very large website that I feel like I need to know more about. It's hosted by Calvin University in Grand Rapids, Michigan, and it's in partnership with the Hymn Society. And on their website, they say this is the most complete database of North American hymnody on the planet. So I use it when I'm searching for something, trying to figure out background about a hymn writer, various things. They include a store. You can become a membership. You can pay, I think, $30, and that allows you access to more stuff. And they have lots and lots of resources. You can also look up hymns by the lectionary. So I highly recommend, I think everybody should have it in their back pocket and know about hymnary.org, because it's going to help you at some point or another. It's quite extensive. Anybody have a comment about hymnary?
Anyone else find it awkward to maneuver?
Yeah.
Okay, good. I'm not alone.
Yes, I'm saying that awkward to maneuver and it's incomplete. Because when I start to look for information on hymn writers or composers or whatever, almost always there's a better resource someplace else.
Okay.
I think it's a more useful repository for older hymns.
Yes.
A lot of the more contemporary hymns just are not there.
Yeah, I would agree. It is definitely.
I've used it sometimes to find music for hymns, you know, new words to old hymns that aren't in our hymnal. So I find an old hymn that's in there that matches the tune. So I've used it that way before. But I agree, it's mostly old hymns. It's the old hymns.
And it does have audio files that tend to be clunky, shall we say, MIDI files that don't inspire you. That ain't fair. Okay. All right, one license. I imagine most of us are using one license, and they have some tunes that come in PDF or TIFF formats that you can download. And I haven't found any. I mean, it seems kind of random to me. Sometimes I'll be looking for something, and lo and behold, there's a PDF, and sometimes there's not. I have a feeling that this is tied to the publisher, and they have agreements with certain publishers. But occasionally this has come in really handy for me. Like we were singing Swing Low, Sweet Chariot, and I found a version in a hymnal that I didn't really like, and the one-on-one license was the way that I grew up singing it. So of course I like that better. So anybody have a comment about one license? Okay. The Justice Choir Songbook. This was created by some people based in the Twin Cities, and it is about social justice and environmental justice. It's community singing. They have apparently local chapters. And the songbook may be downloaded from the website. The one thing that I find a little weird about the songbook is that there's a lot of titles that don't actually have music, and it says coming soon. And this is, I don't know, 10 years old, and coming soon has not come. But there are definitely some great songs in the songbook, and they use Creative Commons copyright. So that makes it easy. Does anybody have experience with the Justice Choir Songbook? Okay. Music that makes community. So our last Saturday sharing was with David Poole, who was part of Music That Makes Community. Music That Makes Community practices communal song, sharing that inspires spiritual connection, brave shared leadership, and sparks the possibility of true something I can't see in our world.
Transformation.
Inspiration, thank you. How come you can see that and I can't? So this was begun a little less than 10 years ago in San Francisco. And they hold live workshops all over the place. And to really be part of this movement, you really need to attend a workshop and learn their technique for teaching by rote. They have 2 published song collections that you can find on their website, and I recommend Singing in Community. The other one is, I think, rather specific to a Vespers service. And the website just has a ton of videos because it's a paperless practice. So sometimes you find a song that you like, but there is no paper version of it. You just need to learn it from the video. But they have some wonderful resources and from a variety of sources. Comments about that?
The last Saturday sharing that you did was about paperless singing with
Yes.
someone from the organization. So you can
Yeah.
look on our homepage if you want to see that conversation.
Yeah. Yeah. And David and his wife Winona taught several
Right.
pieces. It was a little challenging with Zoom, but it worked. So I just recently discovered this. So this is a collaboration between Music That Makes Community and the Coalition to Dismantle the Doctrine of Discovery. And I should speak a little bit about the coalition. This is a group that is based, I believe, in the Mennonite tradition, and their work is around changing our view based in history that Europeans are entitled to conquer the continent, basically. It's, trying to get rid of a colonial mindset. So there's a lot more to this than music. This is a call to justice. It's a history lesson. And you can't really just print it out. You have to look at it online, and it's full of links to videos that teach you the songs.
Ruth, are they tunes? Are they indigenous tunes and indigenous texts, or are they colonial words and colonial text?
I haven't delved deeply into it, but my impression is that the people that are teaching the tunes wrote the tunes.
Wonderful, thank you.
So if they're indigenous or if they're not, whoever was moved to do that.
Thank you.
You are very welcome. Thanks for asking. Okay, resources from publishers. So GIA has something they call the Unbound series, and it's edited by Adam Tice. And you can basically, it allows you to purchase an individual hymn instead of an entire collection. So instead of $60, it's $2.50 a shot. And when you get the download, it includes the full accompaniment, the lyrics by themselves, melody line, if you want to put a bulletin insert or just teach the melody to somebody, and comments from the creators. You can search it by title, composer, writer, biblical reference, all kinds of things. Sometimes there are recordings included. It is $2.50 per copy. You have to have a minimum of 2 copies. I believe that if you use it with multiple people, you legally should be buying multiple copies. But it's a great resource. So anybody use this?
They've published a few of my hymn texts, and I do think it is a pretty high integrity process from my conversations with them.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I would expect so, yeah. Okay, Hope Publishing also has a similar thing that you can search, and they offer single copies. It says free for personal use, and then they ask you to pay for it if you're going to go beyond just an exam copy. And they also have a lectionary planner and a scripture planner. So both of these publishers also have hymn collections from contemporary hymn writers. And you can go on their website and buy a collection. I have a bunch of them, and I think they're wonderful. So contemporary writers like Benjamin Brodie, Mark Miller, Sally Ann Morris, Adam Tice, Shirley Rena Murray. And Mark Miller has a collection from GIA, but he also has a collection called Roll Down Justice, which is available at Choristers Guild. The other collections that I found are all on GIA or Hope. And they go back some years. Some of these are new and fresh, and some of them are 50 years old, I think. Any comments on that?
They are old. Shirley Murray passed away a long time ago, and Carlton Young did last year, I think. Brian Wren is in Saco. He hasn't been able to compose for a while. I went to visit him, but it's all good stuff. It's marvelous stuff. Really integrous with text to tune, and a fresh awareness of God and our faith with a different use of language that's inclusive. those
Yeah.
composers. They were champions of that.
And I think Shirley died during COVID, 2020 maybe. So, yeah. And Ruth Duck is still with us, Dan Damon. Not everybody has passed away, but okay. And then we have websites from hymn writers who are not going directly to publishers. And Amanda, tell us about your website.
So it is https ://queersacredmusic.com. It's a pretty extensive site. Everything on it is free. There is an all scores page, and the recordings page I'm not keeping up because I try to get videos made of everything. So, but there's a start here that lists everything alphabetically. There are a bunch of sub pages like church season music, justice music, LGBTQ music, other worship music, other songs. So yeah, there's a range of stuff. Everything on it is free use, no licensing, no reporting. If you've used it before but haven't been there for a while, on the homepage there's a list of new things. Happy to say more if that's useful. Otherwise, happy to let you move on.
Anybody have questions for Amanda? We're talking about this.
No, but I have a comment for Amanda and for everybody to know. If there's a piece that you want, and there's an issue, for example, I wanted to use Queerly Beloved as an insert for the program, but I didn't want to use 2 pages. I called her up the next day. She had her engraver send me the text with the melody line. Another piece for communion, when I played it through and I started to weep, and I thought, I've got to use this for communion. And I contacted Amanda, could she have it put in a different key, a little lower, and for me and for our congregation, just a little lower. So look at this website. It is amazing. It is amazing. And if you have an issue or a question, Amanda will jump on hot irons practically to help you. She's awesome.
Thank you, Peter. All right. So Carolyn Winfrey Gillette is a pastor, and I haven't kept up. She lives somewhere in the East. Anybody know where she lives at this
She's
point?
up in, I believe, up in New York State, and she's married to Bruce Gillette, who we've been praying for. He's had some health issues. She's wonderful. Her pieces is very well indexed with the seasons, with publications, with she uses new text for old hymns. She's also offered with the lectionary, and she's very approachable. I've asked her several questions. Could I omit 1 or 2 verses, because sometimes it's 4 or 5 and it's just too much for our congregation. It's marvelous, and she's gracious, and we send her a check once in a while. It's wonderful.
Yes, I've had similar experiences, and I will say that she writes hymns at the drop of a hat for current topics. And I looked at the website yesterday, and she has a hymn for World Toilet Day, which it's great. And the first line is, "You may think this is funny to sing about, but it's important." So as far as I know, on her website, she does not marry text to tunes. She just gives you the text and she tells you what tune it goes with.
Yeah, the meter or the tune or a couple suggestions. That's right.
Right. So you get to handle that part. She does have several published hymn collections, and I found several available on Amazon. If her hymn is in a published collection, she will tell you on the website how she'd like you to handle that. Okay, Jim and Jean Strathdy have been around for a long time. They have a website that, I don't know, it's not the easiest website, but they do have a music store. Mostly it's collections. So you could buy, one of their songbooks, that kind of thing. During COVID, I found their sing-along videos really, really helpful, because I could just upload a video and I was done. The videos are free. They have some anthems, and they're just lovely people who've been doing this for a long time and are represented in, I believe, in our hymnal and other collections. Anybody have more to add about the Strathties? Okay. Christopher Grundy is a UCC Reverend Doctor. He's the professor of preaching and worship at Eden Theological Seminary outside St. Louis. His website includes, I think, like 6 videos, and they're all fabulous. Again, that was a wonderful thing during COVID. His sheet music is available for purchase. Much of it is lead sheets. He's a guitarist, so it's more in popular music style. I get the impression that he's not spending a lot of time updating that website. He's got a few other things going on, but his music is marvelous, and it's been favorites for a long time. He is in the UCC Sing, Prayer, and Praise supplement, and his music is, a lot of it is on the Convergence Music Project website, which we will talk about later. But love Christopher Grundy. Anybody?
So just one thing, if you're in a congregation that does not sing kind of folk music or pop music much, definitely spend a little time engaging with his music before you decide about using it. I agree that it's absolutely fabulous. It is not all immediately singable. So it, depending on kind of what your congregation is used to. So.
You just made my day with Christopher. I tell you, I work with a pastor who's also a musician, and he is convinced that what he needs to do is he needs to do a bit of, fortunately, just from time to time, dumbing down the music and doing guitar stuff and so on and so on and so on. And he has fallen in love with this one guy whose name I have blocked out, who writes camp songs.
Oh, Richard Bruxenberg Colligan, perhaps?
No. I've got it in here. I don't, and he's big in Lutheran circles and conferences and so on. And his music is so much the one trick pony. Christopher Grundy, I have a feeling, is going to become one of my new best friends.
Well, his words are come out of his background. He's a seminary professor, so he chooses his words very carefully. Yeah, I love his stuff. Okay, so here's Richard Bruxenberg Colligan. Richard led our morning Vesper service at our 2019 conference in Madison, which is where I got to know him a little bit. And he has 2 websites, worldmaking.net and psalmimmersion.com. And you can buy all kinds of stuff. He's not a pianist, but he works with a pianist to take his music and put it in piano and vocal form. So you can buy that. You can buy a lead sheet, a chart, melody, PowerPoint, MP3, all kinds of stuff. He works hard to keep that website really workable. And it's got a good search engine. And he is also on the Convergence Music Project website. Anybody have something to say about Richard? I also love that he lives in Strawberry Point, Iowa. Where the heck is that? Okay, Brett Hessla is a colleague of Richard's. Brett lives in the Twin Cities. He has his own website. He, I believe, is Lutheran. And he's pretty hands-on. He's doing this work on his own, and you can email him and he responds right away. He has recordings, but generally the recordings are for you to listen to and get an idea for how the song should work. It's not a professional quality. And his stuff is cheap. You can get different forms of it, and it's like $1 a piece. So I love Brett. Ken Medema, I'm sure a lot of us are familiar with. I included him, but honestly, his website is not really the kind of thing that we're talking about today. If you want to buy his sheet music, he has links to the publishers that publish his music. Anybody have questions or comments about Ken?
Yes, Ken has been hosting wonderful things for musicians in various stages of the career. If you get on his website, apply, and your expenses are all paid except your travel expenses. And it's a wonderful retreat. And usually a lot of them have been held at Calvin College because he's close by, and they subsidize that through some grants. And Kenneth, a month ago, was in Saco, Maine, of all places, giving one of his concerts and doing a fabulous job. He's amazing and kind. And if you want to have a retreat as a musician, whatever part of your career you're in, look it up. And it's well worth it.
Yeah, Ken has been here several times. He's a wonderful guy. Just amazing musician. He's blind, so his music is it just comes out of him. He doesn't have any barriers to just improvising and creating. So he writes songs on the spot. The Many is the house band of the Plural Guild. And their motto is creating music all about a world where all belong. So this is definitely in the pop music genre, and they have a lot of great resources. But if your congregation is used to hearing old hymns on the organ, they probably will go for this. Anybody have comments about the Many? I know that lost their names, but the couple that run this organization live in Asheville, North Carolina, and were impacted by the hurricanes. Okay, and then the Convergence Music Project. So Brian Sergio lives in Madison, and he gave a presentation at our 2019 conference. And he is the instigator of this website, which is pretty large. This is progressive Christian music. This is guitar strumming music. This is not in a classical style. He offers, you get, I think it's for $100, you get an annual membership, and you can, anything on the site is free, which is a pretty good deal if you use it. And many of the creators that we just talked about are on the website, and many others as well. So it's extensive. They have some recordings. It's something that you should check out, I think. Comments about Convergence? Who has used it? Am I the only one?
We've used it at my church sometimes. I think it's more like $200 now, but I mean, it's still a phenomenal value because they have an unbelievable amount of stuff on there.
Is it all original music and original tunes and original words?
Yep.
Okay.
Singers and stuff. Okay, so thank you for your attention, and we will send out links, and if I can get my cursor to wake up, I will stop the share. Joan, can you stop the share?
Sure. Isn't that the spotlight for everyone? Spotlighting. Whoop.
Well, you spotlighted it.
I spotlighted. I can't undo you. I don't think I
Oh,
can undo
okay,
you.
here we go. I got it.
Okay.
All right. Why don't you stop the spotlight?
Okay.
There we go. Okay, we're all back. And we have a new person, Martha Jones. So comments, questions, is there a website you would like to see? You guys are way too quiet.
Can I ask a question? A lot of this is original music and you're asking your congregation to sing it. How do you teach singing a new song to a congregation?
That's a great question, and I'm sure we all have different answers.
I do a
Fran.
lot of it. Because we have, the ELCA also just added a supplement to their hymnal, and there's a lot of really good stuff in there. So fairly frequently, we're teaching the congregation new songs and new hymns. And what I do is I make a video. And the videos are no longer than 3 minutes at the absolute outside. I try to keep them under 3 minutes. And what I do is a little bit about the hymn, play it through for them, the melody, if there's any musical thing they need to watch out for, if there's a tricky thing in the melody or whatever, I'll let them know about that. And then play it for them so they have it and they have a reference there. These get posted on our YouTube site along with the visual of the actual page from the hymnal, because we have a really enthusiastic singing congregation. And they respond well.
So that video you play, when is it available beforehand? You play it during the service?
Oh, no. The video, we have a Facebook page and a YouTube site and so on. And if we're going to be doing a new hymn that coming Sunday, I let everybody know a couple of weeks ahead of time. And then no later than Wednesday or Thursday of the week that of the Sunday week we're going to sing the hymn, then I send the video out. So they have the video 3 or 4 days in advance. And they get it. There's a mass mailing thing that goes out every Friday to all the congregants. And there's a copy of this, of my video, along with the visual of the page for the hymn that goes out the week that we're going to sing it.
Wow.
And sometimes if there's something that's important, what we will do is we'll do a whole Sunday of nothing but this one composer's music and what are poets' music. And we did one, it was just a couple of years ago now. Susan Pallow-Cherwin was, of course, one of the half of the power couple of Lutheran music. And she died very young. And so what we did as a memorial to her is we did an entire service that was nothing but her music. We published a bio. I did links to various conversations that she had recorded with various people. David was very generous with his time and helping me out. So we had supported that with all kinds of things that told about her hymns and about writing them, and if there was anything about a specific hymn and so on. And since then, what we've done is just incorporated a whole bunch of her hymns into our regular round of hymns, and everybody sings them enthusiastically.
Great.
What is your church again? What-
Lutheran Church of the Redeemer in Ramsey, New Jersey.
Oh, New Jersey. Huh.
So Claire asked in the chat, she says licensing for online streaming may be difficult with new music. Do you know how many of if any of these organizations cover copyrights for streaming? I know that Convergence Music Project, if you join, that covers all the copyrights. I'm pretty sure that the many would cover streaming copyrights. A lot of these folks you can just write to and ask. Amanda, you have any thoughts about that?
I believe it or not, even though I am the musician at my church, the pastor tends to handle anything related to copyrights. As far as I can tell,
Okay.
we do all of that through CCLI. So no insights there.
Yeah.
Uh,
Well, UCCMA put out something now a year or two ago that was really very good about copyrights for streaming and so on. And for streaming, you do need a separate copyright arrangement. There are a couple of them that are pretty blanket that we use. One of them that is really pretty good. And with a few exceptions, I've had very good luck in just contacting the copyright holder cold and just saying, okay, this is what I want to do. And what do I need to do for you?
Yeah. So I don't
Of
know
course,
if-
the trick, as Joan, you will remember these times, the trick, as we found out along with Maggie Tucker, who in a couple of cases was pulling her hair out, some of the trick is finding out who the copyright holder is.
Yeah.
So I don't think we've exhausted the question about introducing new congregational hymns, and Carrie wants to know how often you repeat congregational hymns, especially if you've introduced something new.
I can address that a little bit.
Please.
We're going to do a brand new hymn. It's from the United Church of Canada for Advent. And actually, Lydia Smith, who's the head of faith formation for United Church of Canada, has put a new devotional out for Lent, and she's using it to start Lent with. But you'll get probably notice on that. But I do it every week. We sing this, it's called We Wait for God. We've planned it out to do it for every week as our opening song. 2 years ago, we did Come Now the Prince of Peace. I forget the Korean composer, but I added my big gong to it. And we did one verse per week for Advent. With Amanda's Queerly Beloved song, getting ready for Pride Month, we did it a few weeks before, but I did have a soloist introduce the verses, and the congregation sang the Alleluia part, the refrain, which is very short and doable. A lot of repetition. And I have done that too, Fran, for some songs that I was able to. I emailed the whole entire congregation, which is not big. Please listen to this video so that you can enter fully in worship on Sunday. And the response was like, they actually did it.
Yeah.
So I was so honored. I said, we want worship to be worship, not frustrating. Please take a minute and prepare yourself for worship. You've got 3 days. Thank you. Love you. Bye. And they all did it.
So our congregation handles this differently, and just in the spirit of the fact that not every congregation can do what Peter's does. We sometimes do gospel tunes, and I tend to introduce those a cappella and basically teach a line at a time from the pulpit, not even from the keyboard. And then once people can sing enough of whatever it is a cappella, I'll then go to the piano, and we will sometimes do that as a hymn of the month. And so it'll be introduced and taught the first week, kind of retaught the second week, and then sung for the rest of the month. I feel like there's a range of options like that congregations can do if people will not look at stuff in between the services.
Oh, sure. And the thing that makes it really lucky for me is that I have a congregation that really sings and really loves to sing. And we sing the psalm refrain every Sunday, and it's a different tune. And since it's Lutherans, you'll pardon me, there's this sort of half-assed tune that they write for the refrain. So many of them are a little on the difficult side to get your ears around, because they're not sensible like the Episcopalians and make it real chant. We couldn't do that. There's these sort of half a tune. And my guys, I play it for them once, we sing it once before they start reading the psalm, and they do it just fine. So I'm incredibly lucky there. So it's not, for me, fortunately, it's not a high bar. But to Peter's point, we do during Advent, the classic lighting of the Advent candle at the beginning of the service. And that's a place like Peter, I tend to choose a new hymn each year. So they get to sing it 4 times during Advent, and Come Thou, O Prince of Peace is the one we used last year. And they were just fine with it.
I hope you use the gong. I have a big gong, Fran. When you bring it up next time, it's gorgeous.
I
Oh,
did
it's
not,
beautiful.
Peter, but I tell you, we have just upgraded our pipe organ, and we have a very wonderful modern Walker MIDI. And there is a gong on my Walker MIDI. So when we do that again, I won't be able to do it as authentically as you did, but we'll be able to approximate.
Mhm.
I would say that in my church, I have a small team that we sing, we are mic'd and we lead the hymns from the mic. And when there's a new hymn, I will teach it to the choir and have them sing it with gusto. The choir does not sit in the chancel. We come up when it's time. So, I will bring them up to the front and we'll do it together. Christopher has a comment. You want to tell us, Chris?
Yeah, folks were asking about reporting more contemporary songs, and I don't know what everybody does to report copyright, but my church has been using CCLI before I got there, and so I had to begin learning how to do that, and I jumped on the site and I had my list of everything we've done in the last 2 months, and almost everything was easy to get, came right up. There was maybe one that I had to search for. Otherwise, for example, there's a young college student who wants to sing a song by the Waylon Jennys. I don't know them.
Oh,
I don't know who they are. And she wants to sing the song Glory Bound, and I put it in there and it came right up. And that's, so I don't know if you use CCLI, but I found them very, very user-friendly and very easy.
I agree. They are user-friendly and they are definitely on the contemporary music side. And we love the Waylon Jennys. We did One Voice this summer. Yeah. All right. Well, let's see. What other things would you like to know more about or discuss?
And I just want to add that one of the members of the Waylon Jennys, Heather Massey, is from Freiburg, Maine originally. So.
Woo! So I hadn't planned to do this, but I wrote a hymn text to a well-known tune a few days ago and began sharing it around, and it's gotten sort of a surprising amount of interest. So I thought I'd just mention it here. It's to How Can I Keep From Singing? And I actually kept the title as My Life Flows On, an Endless Song, but the rest of it is quite new. And it's just the text, but I have it on my website now, and I'm happy to, I've actually posted it on the UCCMA Facebook group, but if it speaks to the moment, feel free to look it up and check into it.
What motivated you to write this?
So our pastor's on a medical leave for Advent, and I'm one of the guest preachers, and I needed something for my sermon, so that's why I did that. But I think it's about the reboot is sort of acknowledging the difficulties of this time and nonetheless singing and striving and working through them. So it seems relevant.
It does. Thank you, Amanda, and good luck to your pastor. That medical leave during Advent doesn't sound too great. Okay.
Ruth, can I ask another question?
Please.
I'm curious. I have an accompanist who writes his own music, not more on the contemporary side than hymn based, and probably a mix. Like he wrote the song, like many of you, that we're going to do for Advent. So there's 4 verses and a refrain. The congregation will sing the refrain. We'll sing the verses, kind of thing. So some of it for congregational singing, some not for that. I'm just curious about how you go about kind of getting your music, you're like out there. Like, how do you start? I think he's interested in that. And I'm just, if you have recommendations for how to sort of get your stuff to the broader audience, I'd love to hear that.
An Amanda question.
Yeah, I'd be happy to, I'll give you a short answer now, but if you want to get in touch directly, please do. I'd be happy to talk to you or him. I started writing a lot during COVID. So mostly what I did was find any Facebook group that seemed relevant. I also joined all the relevant organizations like UCCMA and you know, a number of others, Hymn Society and so on. And I just, you know, wrote stuff, got scores made, got recordings made, got videos made. In my case, made it available for free, and just, you know, every so often I'll, you know, post something on the website and say, here's a new hymn text, or here's a new worship song, or whatever. If he's not trying to make money, that's the easiest way. If he's trying to sort of go through this financially, that's a whole other conversation.
Thanks. No, I don't think that's his intention. Yeah. But
I think
and he totally should look at Carolyn Winfrey Gillette's website for how to structure a website. I mean, I think mine is fine, but I think hers is even better in terms of, you know, how you make stuff available to people. And she's been doing it a really long time, so it's a good model.
thanks. That was one of my takeaways from this was like, oh, I think he needs a website. That's like one thing. So yeah.
Yeah, and not all
Thank you.
websites are equally.
Yeah.
They're all different.
Sure. Yep. Thank you.
Mhm. Any other thoughts? Joan? You're muted.
I was just waving to Peter, who sent me a comment. No, I don't have anything.
Okay. Well.
Hey,
Oh, now you muted yourself again.
okay, am I talking? Ruth, you don't use a hymnal.
Yes, we do.
Oh, okay.
I guess that's another topic. We use the New Century Hymnal, but we do a lot of music that's not in the hymnal. And we have, you know, pre-COVID, we were like, we would never put a screen up in our sanctuary. And now we have 3. So for anything that's not in the hymnal, for everything, because we have people online, we put the lyrics on the screen. And I've never attempted to put a melody line with the lyrics, because I feel like that would be too much to ask for the folks who are moving the slides, because they would have to go through slides a lot faster. So yeah, we do use the hymnal. But yeah, Peter.
I have a question. Just for my own selfish knowledge. This Sunday is Christ the Sovereign Sunday and American Thanksgiving Sunday. Do any of your congregations do a short land acknowledgement? You do.
And it's not that short, and we do it. Yeah.
You do. Because I just do a little short one that our church is built on Abenaki land, and I name the 4 nations that are present, and that we owe them it's their land, and lots of them are in mourning this week, and they should be. And that's what I say. So I'm so glad 3 or 4 of you are able to do that. Thank you.
Yeah, we've tried to make Indigenous culture an emphasis for the whole month.
We do the land acknowledgement almost every single Sunday throughout the whole year.
I know lots of churches do. For me, it's more powerful to hear it once in a while instead of if I heard it every week, I think I would tune it out. I want to remember it. So just the way my convoluted brain works. But thank you for answering that question. I was just curious.
Okay. Well, I'm so appreciative of everybody for attending. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Joan, you will send out the web links, right?
Yes.
Yes, so everybody will get those. Okay, I don't think we will have a December sharing, but stay tuned for January. Okay, thank you.
Thank you, Ruth.
Bye.
Bye-bye. Good to see you.
Good to see all of you.